Have you ever missed a really special or fleeting moment because you were in manual mode or had settings for a specific scene and you just couldn't change your settings fast enough to capture the moment? This can occur due to quickly changing lighting conditions, or maybe you have specific settings for a specialized scene such as long exposures. Well, this is one of my absolutely favorite camera customization settings that you can set up to be ready for any moment. I now personally use this in my landscape photography, but I've used it my entire career and it's a must for any style of photographer. Be sure to stay to the end where I go over some tips and tricks I've learned along the years. And if you like landscape photography, adventures, and learning, be sure to subscribe. All right guys, let's dive into it. So this is a trick I used to use a ton back in my wedding photography days. You're in constantly changing lighting conditions. You'll be bright outside 1 second, full sun, and then 2 seconds later, you'll be in a dimly lit inside area. And you're expected to catch any spontaneous crazy stuff that happens during the day. So I would use this technique, and in all my years, I've never missed a moment. Fast forward, I'm doing landscape photography and I found myself in similar situations. Not with crazy mother-in-laws, overbearing bridesmaids, or hammered uncles, but when a fleeting moment happens and you're not able to change your settings quickly enough to capture it. So what I'm referring to here is setting a specific camera recall function to a momentary custom button. This allows you to instantly change all your settings so you never miss a moment again. Where I personally use this a lot is during pre-dawn blue hour, where I'll be getting like otherworldly, like ethereal scene with like 5 to 30 second exposure times. And then animals or birds will run or fly through my scene. And I want to capture that moment, but I'm not able to quickly change all my settings. And with this button, I can just tap that real quick, snap to an auto assisted mode, bam, capture my shot, take my finger off, and I'm right back to my original settings to capture what I was. So let's take a look at this photo I recently took on the coast of Northeast Florida as an example. This was captured around 6:40 a.m., about 45 minutes before sunrise. This is one of my absolute favorite times to shoot because you can create these otherworldly scenes full of mood and mystery. Different shutter speeds can create totally different looks, and it opens up a ton of creative exploration to play with. This photo is a 10-second exposure, and I just love how the water cascaded over the rocks, but you can only see a real ethereal trail. Most of the water is very smoothed out, but it has just enough texture to show the flow. During this session, the birds were flying everywhere. Seagulls, ducks, pelicans, you name it. They were out in numbers. And at one moment, I glanced over to my left and saw a huge line of pelicans coming quickly for my midground. And in less than a second, I was able to capture them perfectly centered over my scene. And I was instantly right back to my previous settings to capture the water flow again, not skipping a beat. Once they were captured sharply with this technique, it was an easy edit to blend them right into my final shot. Let's quickly go over how I set this up on a Sony camera. I use Sony a7 IIIs and the menu system is just terrible, but you will be able to set this up on most any modern camera. So let's dive in. Let's go to the second camera icon menu up top. Then we're gonna scroll over to the custom operation page. It's 8 of page 9. You're gonna select the top there, the photo custom key. I use custom button 3 here, but use the best for your shooting style. Click recall, custom hold 1. And here's where you'll set your settings up. Set your shoot mode and remaining settings, your drive mode, your exposure compensation, your ISO, your metering mode, your focus area. You want to keep autofocus on. For the shooting mode, I like to use shutter priority for my specific scenario because usually I'm in dark scenes and I just need to capture fast action such as animals or birds or something occurring in my landscape with a 250 to 320 shutter speed because I'm shooting wide and my subjects are mid to backgrounds, so that usually captures what I need to sharply. But use the best shooting mode for whatever scenario you'll be in. For drive mode, I usually shoot single, but if you want, you can put this on burst, capture several shots while you hold the shutter button down, and then choose the best frame during editing. For exposure compensation, I put this on negative 0.7 because I want to protect my highlights a little bit. ISO, you're going to want to keep this auto. This is where most of the work is done. For the metering mode, this is totally up to you. You can use highlight priority if that's the most important thing. I personally use multi-mode because I want a decent average exposure of the scene, and it's okay if a few highlights in the sky blow out. In my scenario, the first thing that's gonna blow out is gonna be the sky, so that's no problem for me. Focus area, I just keep this on wide personally. And the last thing you can change is the keep autofocus and leave that on. All right, let's go over a few tips and tricks I've learned over the years. Why I use the C3 button on my camera is because it's on the left side, keeps my right hand free to do anything else I need, but use the best button for your ergonomics, shooting style, and whatever you're doing at the time. You're gonna wanna prioritize your shutter speed if you wanna freeze any action. So if that's your priority, then use shutter priority mode. And make sure you have your shutter speed set high enough to where it's gonna capture your action properly. Always be shooting in RAW format. Hopefully you are, but always shoot in RAW format so you have the most detail to work with when you get back to editing. Use highlight priority metering if you want to protect your highlights. Your image will be underexposed, but that shouldn't be too much of an issue if you're shooting RAW. And auto ISO is your friend here. It's doing most of the work, so make sure you have auto ISO enabled. A slightly noisy or grainy image is way better than no image at all. And usually you're only using a small portion of the image, so it's not too much of an issue. Unless you're an event or wedding photographer, where this is definitely a lifesaver, and you should absolutely have something like this set up. Real quick, if I can plug my book, 100+ Ideas for Landscape Photographers. Is great if you ever get stuck, if you're in a creative rut, or you just wanna like flip through and get some inspiration. It's real great for that, so check it out. So guys, I hope you learned something, this helped, so that you never miss another shot again. Please subscribe, like the video, and we'll see you next time. Thanks guys.